There is nothing negative that you cannot overcome through your acceptance and love of it. Welcome back to another episode of Mind Mastery. I'm your host, Boris Kirchner. Today, I want us to take a look at, in a very practical, applicable way, how do we apply the power of love, which is our own intrinsic being, our own true nature. How do we apply the power of love to completely overpower and overturn all negativity in our life? This is the biblical promise. This is the promise of all of the sages, all of the saints, all of the wisdom teachers and wisdom keepers. The power of love. Love overcomes fear, overcomes hate, overcomes everything. Why? How? What does this mean? And why is there so much horrific things happening in the world? This is what we want to address in today's episode. I want to begin by sharing with you that I posted this quote, this statement, this principle, that there is nothing negative that you can't overcome or overpower through your acceptance and love of it. I posted this on Facebook and I've had some amazing feedback come back, some comments that I feel really capture the essence of what is happening in the world today. One of the comments says, hey, but there's a lot of ugly stuff out there that I'm finding very difficult to love, and it's tiring when I'm the only one to blame for not being all loving. And this statement, I believe, this comment captures so much of our just overwhelm with what's happening in the world, our overwhelm with our inability to make a difference, our overwhelm in our sense of powerlessness to really change those things that are so not right, so not sitting right in our heart. So there's a lot of ugly stuff going on that I'm finding very difficult to love. Let's use this as our jump off point, because here we really can see that we should make a clear distinction. The distinction is this: the distinction between our thoughts and physical, material events in the world. When we say there's a lot of ugly stuff going on that I'm finding difficult to love, the assumption is that I should love the rape, the pillage, the violence, the lying, the conflict, the control, the various things that we see that seem to be unlovable in their essence. But here is the key, the secret, the thing that I really want you to know is that it is not your responsibility to love the unlovable. It is only your responsibility to love that which is lovable, and only always so. And so what is it that is lovable, loveable, that it is able to be loved? It's your thoughts. You think that it is the world out there that needs change. You think that it is the world out there that should somehow be loved, even though it's unlovable. But it isn't. It is your thoughts. You see, it is your thought that says, I'm finding all of this ugly stuff in the world very hard to love. Okay, but can you love your thought? Can you love yourself enough in that moment to see that that voice that's speaking is just the voice of our, we may say, our inner child, our inner innocence? Like, how do I do all of that? What do I do? How can I make it through this? And you say, oh, sweet one, it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to love the unlovable. I love you, and that's okay. And that's enough. I got you. I'm never going to leave your side. You say that to what? To yourself, to that aspect of yourself, to the source of that voice. You see, so when you hear that there's a lot of ugly stuff going on, and you realize that this is your own thought, this is your own judgment on what's happening. There could be somebody looking at childbirth and say, wow, there's a lot of ugly stuff going on here. I can't love all of this. And I don't want to be blamed for not being able to love all of this gruesome things that are happening. I get it. I get it. But the essence of our power is in being able to take a greater perspective. Our awareness holds within it the capacity for an infinitely open context. And you know what defines the meaning of any and every situation? It's the context. It's the frame through which you look at it. So when we hear this voice of judgment, this voice of innocent judgment, because of course it was conditioned to judge so. It was conditioned by the parents, by TV, by the culture that we grew up in, by society, by tradition, by all kinds of things. So you say, it's okay. It's all right. I love you. Love, love, love. It's okay. You can feel that way. I'm going to hold you. I'm going to allow all of this to pass through you. You're safe. I got you. It's okay. So when we apply love to our negativity and understanding that all negativity is inside, all negativity is only at the level of thought. There is no negative experience out there that can come into you to cause you to feel a certain way. The only thing that happens is that the seeming negativity or the trigger, the images, the signals out here, they trip a wire inside of us. That wire clicks and we remember something. We remember a program, and that program starts playing in our ear. It's called our thought. And then we, oh yeah, and we think that this thought is us. And we feel like, oh my God, this is myself. That I must support myself. No, that thought is a program, a learned way of being. And if you want to overcome this, you say yes to it. You see, this is the very tricky thing, is that we're so used to resisting and fighting against those things that we don't want. But when you say yes to the negative disappears. And when you say yes to the positive is enhanced. Why is that? That is because of the nature of the universe. The foundational nature of our existence is love light. It is complete perfection. So when you shine the light of awareness on something that seems to be dark, seems to be negative, seems to be evil, when you shine the light, you recognize that in the bottom of all evil, when you allow it, when you allow the cry, when you allow the anger, when you allow all of this to pass without making it true, without making it right, just allowing it to be the expression of this moment, when you do that, that experience of negativity, like in the sunlight, the puddle, it just evaporates. It may take some time. It may still leave a wet spot. You may still notice it if you keep checking, but it starts to evaporate. It starts to be released. It starts to be let go. Another comment that was posted on this post was, I want to know how. How do we apply this power of love? I want to know how. And where is the balance between love or standing up to the things that are evil, or at least things I perceive to be evil? And so this is the how. The how is just to end the resistance, but not in a sense that doesn't mean that if somebody's trying to get into your home and hurt someone that you love, that you say, okay, well, I won't resist you. You go ahead and do whatever you want. That is not it. That's a big confusion. It's a confusion of levels of consciousness. The where to apply this non-resistance is at the level of thought. The where to apply love is at the level of thought. When you learn to apply love, acceptance, non-resistance at the level of your own thought, oh, this judgment comes up, orange man, bad, and you start to feel this kind of thing, you remind yourself, actually, this is only a thought. There is no orange man here. There's nothing bad happening. This is me thinking within my own mind, and I love myself too much to allow myself to continue to hurt myself, to create attack thoughts that hurt me inside. And so I'm going to hold myself. I'll hold the space for this to move. Hey, I know my essence is love. I know. Let all of this pass. Let it ravage me. Let it take over my mind. And now it's done. And now the storm has passed. And now I come back to my senses and I heal myself with love. I fill myself with love. I say, I remember that at the core of me is the innocence that was there when I was a baby, before all the programming came in. That pure, aware, unwavering presence of innocence is still here. Hey, I love you. I love you. I got you. It's safe. It's okay. I know that was a scary storm. That was a scary temper tantrum. But I'm here now. I'm here now in my full consciousness, and I take responsibility for you, and I love you. And so through this way, as we do this, suddenly what starts to happen is that our inner dialogue starts to express itself through our outer dialogue. In that lovingness that you've begun cultivating at the level of thought begins to express itself in and through your words, but also in and through your eyes. This is one thing that we don't really pay attention to, is that of course we are responsible for what we perceive. We are responsible for what we see, because what we see is essentially the how of what we see. And so we start, this inner lovingness, this inner acceptance starts to infiltrate our perception, and our perception starts to show us the excuse for everything. You see, there may be so many mistakes that somebody has done. There may be so many errors in the world. There may be so many atrocious things happening. But we start to recognize the innocence at the core of it all. We start to realize that it couldn't help but be the way that it is, given its current level of consciousness, given its level of evolution, and given its background and its conditioning. It can't help but be this way. So, love truly overpowers and transforms all experiences of negativity when we begin to apply it at the level of our thought. You don't have to love the killer. You don't have to love the dictator. You don't have to love the oppressor. But you can love your thoughts. You can love yourself enough to let go of that perspective, knowing that it is only an option. It is only an arbitrary way of looking at something. Knowing that it feels painful, you let it go out of love. For who? For you. Not for anybody out there. Not for the horrific people and places and decisions that are happening in the world, but out of your love for your own heart, for your own innocence, and out of your desire to serve and transform the civilization on planet Earth, because that is what we do when we change our mind. And our mind starts to reflect itself in our speech. It starts to reflect itself in our perception. And we start to literally be agents of this new earth, agents of a new way of being, the way showers of a new way of being, of coming from love, not seeking love, but coming from love, from understanding, from the sense of acceptance and allowance. Because we have given so much of it to ourselves that we are full and overflowing, and we have so much to give, to share, to have. I hope this has served you, and I challenge you to challenge your thoughts, to take care of yourself, to love yourself enough to say yes to the negativity, to allow it to explode through you, to move through you. It wants to come up, you let it come up. It wants to come up and out, you let it come up and out. And then you give yourself that extra dose of love until you're so full that that space doesn't waver anymore. So to our success on this journey of love, blessings.